What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video to discuss the New York Jets going up against the Denver Broncos. Week 4, the New York Jets 2-1 and trying to improve to 3-1. I'm amped up about this game because I'll be in attendance for this game. So if you are also going to Jets Broncos, what you're going to want to do is come find us at the Talkin' Jets tailgate. We are in lot E26 to be exact. So pumped up for this one. It's going to be a really fun weekend. As you guys know, the preview show is brought to you by our friends at BetUS. Sign up using promo code YouTube150. Receive a 150% match deposit bonus on your first deposit. 125% on your next 2 deposits after that, up to $2,000. Let's take a look at the odds for this game. The Jets are 8-point favorites at home, and at even money on the money line, they are minus 360. So again, big favorites on the money line. The over-under in this game is 39.5. If you are interested, I'm going to hold off on my picks to the end of the video. You guys know at the end is when I usually make my selections, but sign up using promo code YouTube150 to get in on the action. Okay, so the Jets are 2-1, Broncos 1-2. A surprise win for the Denver Broncos in week 3 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In fact, that win knocked me out of a knockout pool. Great. Thank you so much, Bo Nix, Denver, Sean Payton and company, and Todd Bowles sticking it to me once again, like he did for so many years when he was the Jets head coach. But they get their first win out of the way. They now travel on the road to play the Jets at MetLife. The last few years, the Jets have had to travel to Denver to play the Broncos, and well, it has not gone very well, as you lost Elijah Vera Tucker in both of those games for the season, and you lost Breece Hall in that game in year 1. And so what was that, 2022? So hopefully everyone stays healthy in this one. But speaking of injury news, the Denver Broncos lost a really key piece to their defense this week, as Alex Singleton lost for the year with an ACL injury. He actually played through the injury for the rest of that game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is just absolutely insane. But this is a guy who racks up, he's one of their leading tacklers. He had over the last, I believe it's 4 or 5 years, 120 plus tackles. Last year, 177 tackles for Denver. This is a really, really important piece, and someone who I think would obviously have an impact in the game as, you know, as a run defender. But without him, that's a really big loss and something to keep note of for Denver in this one. Without their leading tackler, is going to be tough. Looking where Denver is offensively, they are a very, very poor running team. Their 2 running backs, Javonte Williams, he's averaging 2.2 yards per carry on just 24 carries. Jaleel McLaughlin, the other running back, 2.2 yards per attempt on 18 carries. Really, Bo Nix has been the only rusher who's had any sort of success. So without a ground game, Denver has pretty much dropped Bo Nix back to throw at an alarming rate, at an absolutely alarming rate. 35 times or more he's thrown in each of his first 3 games. This past week, though, was the first time he looked serviceable. I think that's a fair way to describe Bo Nix's game against Tampa Bay. He was 25 of 36, 216 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, for an 85 rating. Now, in his first 2 games, he was much more turnover prone. He had 2 interceptions in each of his first 2 games. I think the Jets will be able to turn him over in this game, similar to what they did against Will Levis in week 2 for the New York Jets here. Just looking at how their defense has improved week over week. And yeah, obviously they took care of business against New England. They're getting healthier. They had a long break from last Thursday to Sunday. I think that really bodes well for the Jets in this spot. And one of the biggest things of note for this Jets football team, we know they're without Hassan Reddick, but Will McDonald has been fantastic, especially in the absence of not only Hassan Reddick, but Jermaine Johnson. The Jets have 68 pressures right now as a team, which is 3rd in the NFL. A really big number, and the Denver Broncos offensive line had a much better showing in week 3, but I would say at best they're a middle-of-the-pack offensive line. And they did just lose Mike McGlinchey. He was put on IR, which means a 2023 UDFA, Alex Pelzwecki, I'm going to say. Is how you pronounce the name? Alex Pelzwecki. Again, 2023 UDFA. He played his first game this past week against Tampa Bay, and he was probably their worst starting offensive lineman of the group, which, again, is kind of expected as a 2023 UDFA, young player, not a lot of expectations. Their best player on that offensive line is Garrett Bowles at left tackle. Has just been steady at that spot for a really, really long time for them. Getting to we talked about the Jets defense and how I think they're going to stack up well in this game. I also think offensively they're going to do pretty well too. They're improving week over week. We've seen growth each week. They have 3 touchdowns in each of their first 3 games offensively, which is just, I have to pinch myself saying that every single time. Last week, Rodgers went for 281 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. And honestly, I think he has another big game this week because I would utilize a very similar game plan to what the Jets did just a week ago. I think what Denver would want in order to keep themselves in this game would be a run script, grinded out, nasty defensive game. But from the Jets side, if they come out throwing like they did early on, which then set up the run later in the game, I'm not saying, obviously with Breece Hall and Braylon Allen, like use your 2 really good damn running backs. But like, obviously I'm not saying throw the ball 60 times in this game, but I think you need to come out with tempo and pace, get up to an early lead, which is what they did against New England, and then they cruised to a 24-3 win. I think we could see, honestly, something pretty similar to that this week, especially the Jets going up against a young quarterback. Like, this is a really tough spot for Bo Nix making his 4th career start on the road at MetLife. Crowd's going to be rocking. First 1 o'clock game of the year, coming off a big win over the Patriots. High expectations. You're going up against Aaron Rodgers and a team that gets after the quarterback with Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed and Michael Carter, getting healthier too. I just think this is going to be a tough spot for Denver. So let's get into my stat predictions. I just said that I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a big game. So I put him 24-34, which is 70.6%, 302 yards. Yes, he gets over to 300 yards for the first time in a long time. In that graphic we could stop seeing now finally. 3 touchdowns, no picks, 127.3 rating. Bo Nix, I think, is going to have a tough day. He was better this past week in week 3. I think we see a performance that is closer to what we saw the first 2 weeks from him. 20-37, 54%, 204 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks, and a 47.6 rating. Honestly, for the Jets receivers, I think it's Tyler Conklin who has a big day. I put him down for 6 catches, 87 yards, and a touchdown. He had over 90 yards a week ago. For the Jets, like, I know we obviously want to see Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson get on the same page, but Patrick Surtain is obviously going to be going up against Garrett Wilson a ton. And for me, I put Patrick Surtain and Sauce Gardner in a tier of their own. To me, they are 1 and 2, the best 2 cornerbacks in the NFL. If I would put Sauce Gardner 1, but honestly, if someone did put Patrick Surtain 1 on their list, I'm not going to argue with it because I think he is really that damn good. And again, I think those 2 are interchangeable, but they're in a tier of their own. And I just don't think this is the week that we see that ultimate breakout yet from him. TBD. All right, to the picks portion of the program. Straight up picks, I've been great. 3-0 so far with my choices. I said they're going to lose in week 1 and win their next 2 games. They've done exactly that. Against the spread, not so great. 1-2. I thought the Patriots would cover last week. That was silly. I'm not going to make that same mistake again. Give me the Jets laying the 8 points. I got a 31-6 final. I think the Jets get in the end zone 4 times in this game. I predicted Aaron Rodgers to have a big day. They'll also rush for a touchdown as well. Kick a field goal to put up 30 points for the first time this year. And I think their defense allows less than 10 points in this one. I know that's really lofty expectations. That's clearly a big time blowout win. That's the Jets winning by 25 points. If you've been a regular watcher of me, and any time I've ever made these selections in the 5 years I've been doing these previews, I don't know how many times I've predicted a Jets blowout. Probably never. This might be the first time. So like clearly I didn't a week ago. So like I'm not a homer, as you've probably been able to tell by now, but I just think this is a really, really good spot for the Jets and a really tough spot for Denver. We'll see how it plays out, but I got the Jets 31-6 in this one. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Shout out again to BetUS for sponsoring the video. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll catch you next time.